Hello and welcome to India Tonight, in the second part of this special two-part interview with the Home Minister of India, P. Chidambaram. Home Minister, I want to now talk to you about the political turmoil in Pakistan and its implications in terms of security for India. To begin with, do you believe that the recent momentous developments in Pakistan, which culminated on Monday morning, have made Pakistan a more stable country, or do you think a precarious equilibrium that's lasted for 7 months has been dangerously disturbed?
Well, I can't make a judgment on that, but we are not happy with the turmoil in Pakistan. Turmoil across our border has a tendency to spill over in different ways into India. If they have reached a settlement, and that settlement will provide greater stability to the civilian government, I'll be happy. But for the time being, I'd like to reserve judgment on that.
Are you suggesting that India has a stake or at least an interest in ensuring stable civilian rule in Pakistan? That is an interest for us.
Of course, a stable civilian democratic government means that we know who we're dealing with, and there are checks and balances. There is a parliament, there is a judiciary, and therefore its excesses are not possible.
People in India often say that it's easier to deal with a military government because there's a single person in authority. Civilian governments are messy, they're weak, and they always have to look over the shoulder to the military. Is that a view that you would disagree with?
The civilian governments don't have to look over their shoulders to the military. That is the situation in Pakistan. There are hundreds of governments the world over which don't look over their shoulder to the military. That is not a truly civilian government. But I think any day a civilian democratic government in Pakistan is better for us to deal with such a government. I think that's better.
Now, there are several components of the situation in Pakistan. The first is Asif Ali Zardari, the president of the country. In his interviews, in his comments, he always says things that sound very reassuring to Indian ears. But do you believe he's sincere, or is this just rhetoric?
Well, I don't have to make a judgment on his sincerity. I only need to know what he says and what he does. If there is a wide gap between what they say and what they do, then I have to keep my guard high, that's all.
And in the case of Mr. Zardari, does that wide gap exist between what he says and what he does?
It exists in the case of every Pakistani leader who has commented on the situation post the Mumbai attack.
A second aspect of the situation in Pakistan is the role that was recently played by General Pervez Ashfaq Kayani. People in Pakistan say that he played a sagacious role in ensuring that the confrontation was reduced and that a consensus was arrived at between the quarrelling political parties. As you view him from your standpoint as Home Minister of India, are you reassured by his presence and behavior, or do you have a certain sense of doubt and concern?
Well, I don't know him. All I know is what I hear. I'm told that the army is a center of power. I'm told that the army has brokered some kind of peace between the Prime Minister and the President. Now, who wields real authority in Pakistan, I can't say. But if General Kayani is a moderating influence, if he has brokered a peace between the President and the Prime Minister, well, that's a good a piece of news. But I have no information to make a judgment on these matters.
In other words, you're saying if he has done what people claim he's done, then that would be reassuring.
Of course.
The other element of Pakistan, of course, is the spreading influence of the Taliban and other fundamentalist organizations. As you know, they control Fatah, they control Swat, they control large parts of the Northwest Frontier province. First of all, how do you view the peace deals that the Zardari government has done with the Taliban in Swat as well as in Bijor?
Very bad for South Asia. It's bad for Pakistan, it's bad for the rest of South Asia. We cannot countenance a regime like the Taliban regime. That's opposed to every notion of civilized democratic government that we accept, and we're trying to build India on that foundation. But if the Taliban's influence is spreading in Pakistan, I'm sorry for the people of Pakistan, but it worries me because the Taliban's influence is spreading and it could spill over into India.
The Pakistani government insists that this is nothing more than a system of ensuring speedy justice, that it's bringing back of a Nizam-e-Adl that existed up to 69. Do you agree with them, or do you accept the view that you hear more from Washington, that this is actually a retreat and surrender of the secular state?
These are throwbacks to the primitive days. Girls should not go to school. Girls and boys should not study together. How can I or we as secular people accept all that?
The situation...
Gender neutral people accept all that.
The situation is complicated by the fact that now the Obama administration in Washington is beginning to make distinctions between what they call good and bad Taliban, and there is an attempt, so the newspapers claim, to incorporate the moderate Taliban into the new government that could be created in Afghanistan.
I think that's an interpretation. I have not heard any US official make a distinction between good Taliban and bad Taliban. In fact, I think the US is quite upset with the Pakistan government for yielding so much space to the Taliban.
So you have no reason to believe that the Obama administration plans to incorporate moderate Taliban into the Kabul government?
No, it will be totally against all that President Obama claims to stand for, or what he said in his election campaign.